Hello guys, welcome to diary.io. In this video, we are going to be looking at project 2, which is LEMP stack implementation. LEMP stack is a group of software that can be used to serve dynamic web pages and web application. So for this project, we are going to create an EC2 instance of T2 Micro. And we are going to be using Ubuntu 20.04 server. So let us create our EC2 instance. So I'll come to instances. If you have your project one like this, you can just terminate it or stop the instance to keep the. Then I'll launch another instance. I'll name this project 1. Then this should be project 2. Then this should be Ubuntu. And we will be using Ubuntu 20.04. For the key pair, I'll be using this project 2. Then I'll launch this instance. So let me open my Git bash terminal. And I will expand this so that you see it properly. Then zoom this in like that. So what I'll do here is to copy this. Click on the instance ID. Then I'll click on our instance. So I'll click on connect and I'll copy this. So to our new instance now. If I run this here, we are going to get identity file, which is project2.pem, not accessible, not such file on directory. That's because we are not in the directory where we downloaded our private key file, our PEM key. So I'll change directory to the downloads directory where I have my PEM key. Then I'll paste this in. So you are in. The next step now is to install Nginx. And to install Nginx, I'm going to run sudo apt update and run sudo apt install Nginx. So let me copy this. Apt package manager is for Ubuntu and Debian. So I'll copy this, Ctrl C, then paste it in like that. You see, update the package manager, install the latest dependencies, and install our Nginx. Yes. So after installing Nginx like this, I'm going to check the status by running sudo systemctl status Nginx. So our Nginx is active and running. So what we're going to do next is to access the Nginx default page locally. Then to access the Nginx default page locally, we are going to be using the call command. So I want call localhost and this. So you can use any of these call localhost http://localhost or this 127.0.0.1 port 80. So I'll be using this IP. So this is the Nginx default page source code, the HTML source code. And what we're going to do next is to access this source code from our browser. Then I'll go to my EC2 console. And click on, you can copy the DNS name from here, or you can come here and copy the public IP or the DNS, public IP before DNS. So let us copy the public IP before DNS. Then I'll paste this in and enter. So what we're going to get here is connection timeout. To just be loading, and the reason why we'll get connection timeout, as you can see error connection timeout, is because you have to edit the inbound rule of this instance. Let's go to security, then click on this security group ID. So we are going to edit the inbound rule and add HTTP connection there. So from anywhere, save rules. So if we refresh our page now, we should get the Nginx page. This is the rendered HTML source code, and this is the raw source code here. So let's move to the next page, which is to install MySQL server. For this, I want sudo apt install MySQL server, which is our database. Then I'll enter yes, yeah, why, to confirm the installation. Just have to wait for it to complete the installation. So what we're going to do here is this step, we are going to skip it because running this step, you have to like authorize the user before running this step. You have to change the password of the root. You have to change it, set a password for it, and that's when it will work. You want to do this. So we are going to skip this step and move to the next step. After setting the password, if we still want to go ahead for and do this, we are going to enter yes here or no. Then for this, If you set a medium password, your password must be strong. You must add letters and characters and alphabet, something like that. Capital letter, small letter, full stop, comma. Just add it and let it be a very strong password. And you're going to be skipping that. So what you're going to be doing now is to access the MySQL console directly by running sudo MySQL. Then we're going to exit just to check the MySQL console. Then I'll paste this in. So we are in. So if I do show databases, this is MySQL query. We are getting this database. This that. So let's move to the next page where we are going to be installing PHP. So to install PHP, I'm going to also do apt install PHP FPM and PHP MySQL. And why are we installing this? This is because we have Nginx installed to serve our content, which is the PHP and HTML content. Then MySQL installed to store and manage your data. Now you can install PHP to process code and generate dynamic content for the web server. While Apache embeds the PHP interpreter in each request, and we used Apache in project 1. So in this project, we'll be using Nginx, which stands for the E, the M for the MySQL database, P for PHP, and L for our operating system, which is Linux operating system. So Nginx requires an external program to handle PHP process and act as a bridge between PHP interpreter itself and the web server. This allows for better overall performance in most PHP-based websites, but it requires additional compression, which we are going to install this PHP FPM, which stands for PHP Facile GI Process Manager, and process engines to pass PHP requests to this software, this PHP Facile GI Process Manager. And we are going to be doing the PHP MySQL, which is the PHP module that allows PHP to communicate with the MySQL-based database. Core PHP packages will be installed as dependencies. So we don't need to install the PHP again. While installing this, the core PHP package will be installed as dependencies. So let me paste this, exit out of the MySQL console. Then I'll paste this in. So if I don't want to be getting this, I've been getting this to enter the prompts and this white stuff to confirm the installation. I can just put -y here. So that will install the package for us, and it is installed PHP some FPM 7.04, something like that. 7.04 FPM, another PHP dependencies like that. So let us move to the next step, which is step 4, where we are going to be to configure the engines to use the PHP processor. So when using Nginx web server, you can create web server block, which is similar to the virtual host in Apache that we used in our project 1 to encapsulate configuration details and best more than one domain and host more than one domain on a single server. In this guide, we use project LEMP as an example host name. In Ubuntu 20.2, for Nginx has one server block enabled by default and is configured to serve documents out of this directory. This var www/html. While this works well for a single website, it can be more difficult to manage if you are hosting multiple websites. Instead of modifying var www/html, you can create a directory structure within this directory where we have our HTML directory, which is /var/www for your domain website, leaving var www/html in place as default directory to be served if a client request doesn't match any other services. You can use it to serve something like this, like your GitHub account. If you enter an invalid, let us check it out. github.com/okay. This is my repository 7/gg. That's something like this. So you are going to get this error for stuff, a page specially designed. You enter wrong URL in your GitHub. So you can use it for something like that. So let us make this directory now. Create a root web directory for your domain as follows. Then we are going to change the ownership of this directory to our current user, which is Ubuntu, what we logged in as the current user now. So this will make the directory. So if I run ls sudo ls on this var www ls-ltl, you will see that the user is root and the group is root. So if I run this command now, the user will change to the user we are logged in as, which is Ubuntu. So let me run it. Then if I check it again, it has changed the user to Ubuntu and the group to Ubuntu. So what you are going to do next is to create the configuration file in the etc/nginx/sites enabled directory. And we are creating this file project LEMP. So let me paste this in. This will open it with a nano text editor. Then I'll paste this block there, the server block. Copy and paste it in. And this server will listen on port 80. The server name, this is our server name, project LEMP, www project LEMP, and the root is, this is our root directory, and the index file, the index is index.html, index.html, and index.php. And this will serve as the default page. It will render these files if you have it in our root directory like this. If you have var www.limp/index.html, it will render this page if you just input the public IP address without any other thing to render it for us. So for this to, if you don't have this and the other of this index.php, everything matters. This will come first. It will, the other really matters. It will precede the index.php. If you have index.html and index.php in this directory, the index.html will be rendered for us. And this is where we are redirecting all the php.php files from this. We are redirecting into the php 7.04 fpm the sock like that, and we are including this conversion. So let me save this. Yes, and enter. And we are going to link this directory sites enabled. We are going to link it to the sites enabled. This is like enabling our configuration, then test the configuration if what we input is correct. If it is, if we did not add any error or something, if we did not add anything that is not supposed to be there in our configuration, if the configuration is valid, to test for it with this sudo nginx-t. We should have space before. So our configuration is successful. Next thing I'm going to do here is to unlink this default Nginx page, Nginx configuration. So unlink this default Nginx configuration. This will disable it. Then for this configuration to reflect, I just have to run this systemctl reload Nginx. This will reload Nginx for us, and the new configuration will be processed. We take action. So we are getting this because we did not have any file to serve, any index.html or index.php file to serve in our root directory. So what we're going to do next is to add that into our root directory, then try again. So let me add this. This will echo LEMP from host name, and this will get our host name for us with IP. This will get the IP for us. Then redirect it to this index.html in our root directory like this. So if I reload this page, you're going to get another LLM from hostname, this, and with IP. And as you can see, the hostname is the same thing as what you have here. You can also use the IP here. I just change to our IP. So you are getting the same thing. They are the same thing. You can just view it like the host name and like what you have here. Where is it in at this point? You can just view it like that. Like this localhost and 192.129.7.0.0.1. So let's move to the next page where we are going to be testing our PHP with Nginx. To test this, we are going to create this PHP file in our root directory, and we are going to add this function php info, which should display all the info of our details of our server for us. So let us open this file with nano test editor php.info. Then we're going to copy this there, then insert it, Ctrl X, then I'll save this and enter. So if we come to our if we come here and enter /info.php, we should get the details about our server. in the PHP info. So leaving this in our root directory is not really safe. So what we're going to do now is to delete this because attackers can attack us with what we have here. We have the Ubuntu AMI, we are using the Ubuntu version, everything about our server, a lot of details about our server. So let us move this page with this sudo rm, then this to move this info.php. So let me paste it in. And for this domain, you can change it back to project LEMP. Project LEMP. So if you refresh this page, you're going to get 404 not found, like what you got in the GitHub page. So you can design a page for this 404 too, but you're not going to be doing that here. So let us move to the next step, which is step 6, where we are going to be retrieving data from our MySQL database with PHP. So before retrieving the data from our MySQL database, we have to create a database first. We have to create database, create user, set password for the user, as you can see here, and grant all on this database to the new user. So let us do that now. So to create the database, I'm going to copy this and run sudo MySQL. So if you run the MySQL secure installation here, you have to use the new password. You won't be able to log in like I am doing now, like this. You won't be able to log in with sudo MySQL, but if you want to log in, you'll be logging with the user and password. You have to add password to the root user. So let us create our database with this. So let us create our database. If you want to copy, don't copy this MySQL prompt. Just copy what you have in front of it. Create database. So it is okay. Then we are going to create user like this. We have created our user. Next step is to grant all on this database to our user. So we are done with that. So let us exit out of this, out of the MySQL console. We are logged in as root user here. So we are going to log in as the new user we just created. So to log in, just going to copy this. And for the password, I'll just put password like that. And this is the password. You can change it or leave it as default. If you change this password, you are going to be changing any place, anywhere where I'm going to change it here to change the password, which is not really nice. Just follow along with the documentation. So what we are going to be doing now is to create a database to show the table and create to show the database, our database that we created here. and create a table. So let us show the database. It is show databases. So this is the database that we created here. Next step now is to create this table. And for this table, you must find a way to remove this. So you can just copy it to a text editor and edit it as I did there. Just find a way to remove the MySQL prompt. Remove this, and this. Just remove it. You can edit it on your VS Code or a notepad. So let me paste this in. This will create a table for us. Then the next step is to do that this to insert content into our table. So to insert into our table, we are going to be running this. My first important item, my second important item, third important item, and this one more thing. We are going to insert it into our table. So for this, I have created something like this. With this, we are going to insert into the table directly like this. So you don't need to be running this one by one again. So I just copy this, copy and paste it here. So you can check this, what you have inserted here with this select all. This will select everything from the database table. And our table is to do underscore list. So let me copy this, Ctrl C and paste it here. So it's the same thing. My first database. So we are going to exit out of this console, MySQL console. Let me exit out of it. Then the next step is to create this file to do underscore list.php and open it with nano text editor. So this will be our PHP file that will get everything from our database, get the table, and render it for us. So I'm going to copy this next, copy and paste this in. Then Ctrl X, Y, enter. So with this now, I can visit our page and add / to do underscore list.php. So you are getting this. This is what we have in our database. And you can also come here to confirm this. Let's just copy this and log into our database. Log into our database. MySQL user example user, then password. So I'll paste this in and use my last item. So this will create another content in our table. You can set it like this. So if we refresh our page now, we should get this my last item, and there we have it. So congratulations on completing this project, and see you in the next project. Thank you.